Hey everyone, I am Saiman Shetty, the founder of the Smart Green Card program. Most people think that they need a Nobel Prize and a PhD or even an executive title to qualify for the EB1A. Well, are all of these things really true? Today, let's break down the exact process involved in this entire EB1A journey so that you get clarity on the requirements and what actually goes into getting your EB1A green card straight from someone who has done it and helped a lot of people do it themselves as well. Well, let's jump straight into the roadmap from the eligibility requirements to obtaining the EB1A green card. Let's get started. Number one, understanding the EB1A eligibility. If you have received like a one-time achievement award like the Nobel Prize or Grammy Awards, you will qualify for EB1A. But hey, that's not all of us. In fact, that's not most of us. Very few people have that. So don't panic. Wait. While many EB1A aspirants are not recipients of such high awards, they still have an EB1A green card by meeting at least 3 out of the 10 criteria that are set by USCIS. Subsequently, they proved that they have received and sustained national or international acclaim and that they are one among the top people who have risen to the top of their fields. Moreover, you don't really need an advanced degree or a high job title to get your EB1A green card either. If you have them, it'll definitely help, but you don't really need them because the EB1A is never built around a advanced degree or education. It is built on impact that you show at your work. Number two, collecting EB1A evidence. How do you even prove that you satisfy the EB1A requirements to USCIS? Well, it's all through robust evidence. While collecting evidence for the EB1A, most aspirants make these two major mistakes. Most people think that they need specific evidence to meet certain EB1A criteria and focus only on that specific evidence, leaving uncertainty in actually collecting the evidence or building a holistic narrative or a holistic story. For instance, many people chase citations to prove the impact of the work in their field. However, you can use letters of recommendation from clients showing how your work has actually been original and significant to their field and how they have benefited from it. So you don't really need citation. I mean, this is just one example, but there are so many examples of and pieces of evidence that you can use to prove your EB1A case. One of the other mistakes that they do is that their evidence fails to really establish a strong story of their extraordinary ability for the final merits purpose. So most aspirants meet 3 or more EB1A criteria. That's relatively easy, to be honest, but their evidence doesn't really showcase that they've received like sustained national or international acclaim, and USCIS really wants to see that you haven't done it for like a small period of time. You have a sustained acclaim that backs your case up. Their achievements have probably been recognized only in their fields, but not significantly. So that's one of the issues that people face as well. You also need to show that you have substantially benefited the US. You need to show that you intend to continue in your field of endeavor. So there are a lot of subjective elements like these that you need to show for final merits, which people usually don't think about because, hey, human mind goes after objectivity. We like numbers, we like very crisp data, and we just do how much is enough. I'd rather recommend that you do way more than what's enough because that is what goes into really building a very strong EB1A petition. At Smart Green Card program, though, we ensure that every piece of evidence that you collect will showcase your extraordinary ability to qualify for the EB1A very holistically, collectively comparing all the pieces of evidence and building it into a very strong, legitimate narrative. Number 3, filing the 140 petition. So once your EB1A profile is ready, you need to file a Form 140 application along with the evidence documentation that you collected, and this all goes to USCIS in a package. EB1A has the biggest advantage here that you don't really need labor certification, and so that's where you can actually skip the time-consuming perm process. A lot of people are stuck for 8 months, 10 months, more than a year in the perm process, which you don't really need to go through for the EB1. That's one of the beauties of the process. Now, even though the processing time for your 140 application takes several months, with the premium processing request, you can get a result or some action on your EB1A petition within 14 to 15 days. That's what USCIS commits to, and we highly recommend going for the premium because it's just worth the worth the speed and worth the money that you pay for it. During the review of your EB1A application by USCIS, sometimes you may get a request for evidence. That actually means that they need additional evidence to decide on your case. If you get an RFE, don't panic. It's sometimes common for officers to ask for more stuff like this. Just respond within the time frame mentioned, and they exactly mention what they want to see in order to be convinced. Just give them that. Number 4, adjustment of status. Once your 140 application is approved, you need to undergo adjustment of status if you are residing in the US to get your green card. If you're not residing in the US, there's a different process for it. It's not too difficult, but it's called consular processing, and we can make a separate video on that sometime later. But either way, you need an approved 140 in the first step to enter into that step even. So here's where the priority date role comes into play. For example, the EB1A, in the EB1A, the date that you filed your EB1A application with the USCIS becomes your priority date. Now, if you have a prior existing EB1, EB2 or EB3 priority dates, you can use those as well. So in the monthly visa bulletin, if your priority date is before the final action dates, then you can adjust your status in the US, which means a green card is available for you, and you can file the 485, and in about 8 to 10 months, you'll have your green card once USCIS processes your case. The EB1A final action date advances for EB2 and EB3, especially for Indian people, has been very slow, and in the EB1, it has been relatively quick. So that's the reason most people are even interested in the EB1A, because it's so much worth the extra effort that you put into it. Now, if you are outside the US, like I said, you need to undergo a consular processing in the US embassy or consulate once your priority dates are available. The great news here is that in most visa bulletins so far, the date of filing chart can be used. Again, you have to check the visa bulletin for that particular month on if you can use the filing chart or the final action chart, and the bulletin itself will be able to tell you that. That's an overview generally of the EB1A green card process. Now, even though EB1A has very stringent and high level requirements, you strategically can work hard to build your EB1A profile and get the results more than you just expect off of your current profile. So at the Smart Green Card program, we understand every EB1A profile is unique. So we make sure that we leverage all the relevant work that you have done in your field and use that to collectively advance your profile, help you build a very compelling EB1A profile. So coming to the end, if you are looking for hands-on guidance to build a compelling EB1A profile, just check out our Smart Green Card program. We'll link it down in the description as well. We are here to help you throughout your EB1A journey in a much more hands-on, partnered manner. I hope this video helped you in understanding the process of getting the EB1A green card. We'll meet you soon in another very useful video. Until then, stay tuned. This is Saiman Shetty signing off. Peace.